Hey everyone, it's Jonathan, and I have a massive announcement. I have a brand new podcast, and it will be one you are already familiar with. I'm spinning off the Disney Movie Marathon into its own show. And if you're watching the video version, you'll notice brand new artwork done by the amazing Simone Full. She does awesome Disney-inspired artwork, and when I was going to start my new Disney podcast, I knew I had to have her do the avatars for it. So I've been considering doing a Disney podcast for literally years now. I was already thinking about this in 2019 when I made this podcast, but I took my time building up to it, and now 3 years later, I finally decided to just go for it. Now, since I've already been doing the Disney Movie Marathon here for a few years now, for a while, at least until I catch myself up to present day, the new podcast will consist of a lot of quote-unquote repeats as I upload my back catalog. This will include episodes that are already part of the regular Disney Movie Marathon series, as well as probably any other Disney film we might cover over on Every Version Ever as well. However, in addition to the main Disney canon episodes, which will obviously all still air on this podcast also, of course, I do have episodes planned that will be exclusive to the new Disney Movie Marathon podcast as well, and there are already a bunch up there available for you to listen to now. For starters, my friends Eli and Mark will be joining me for a recurring series looking at the different eras of Disney history. Every time we come to a new era in Disney's animated canon, we'll have a new episode to talk about it. So we started with the Golden Age, which was one of the very first episodes of the new podcast, and as soon as we finish all the episodes on the Golden Age films, we'll have a new one for the wartime era, and then later on the Silver Age, and so on. Another one of our new episodes was covering a whole bunch of early Disney shorts like Steamboat Willie, Plane Crazy, The Skeleton Dance, and a whole bunch more. Mark and Eli also did that with me, and then Eli and I also covered the new live-action Pinocchio remake to go along with the quote-unquote repeat episode talking about the original Pinocchio. And then my friends Nikki, aka Trivial Theater, and Katie Fabric have joined me for several new episodes, two of which will be coming here to this podcast very soon as a teaser for what you can expect from the new show. Last month we covered the 2018 live-action film The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, and then for Halloween we did Hocus Pocus and Hocus Pocus 2. And those two will be coming here for Halloween, but all the rest of the new episodes that I've mentioned will be exclusive to the new podcast. As you can tell, this new show is going to be covering a lot more than just the Disney canon like we've been doing here, and eventually I'd like to regularly cover the live-action Disney movies that I grew up with, and also newer films that I've never seen before, like Disney Channel and Disney Plus originals. Of course, we'll also eventually get into things like the Pixar films, and depending on how they might relate to other things I'm covering, maybe even some TV shows. I know there are a bunch of spin-off shows for several classic and newer Disney films, and I'd love to talk about all that. Of course, if you follow me for any of my shows, you'll know that I love doing miniseries, so many episodes of this show will end up being part of a series. Obviously, if you've listened to any of my previous coverage of the Disney canon, I also like covering things around each episode, and I want to keep doing that and more. Like when we eventually get to the Jungle Book, we'll start with the original film, then move to the direct-to-video sequel, then look at the live-action sort of a sequel from the 90s, and I think there was also a live-action prequel. And then, of course, we'll finish up with the live-action remake from 2017. There's also at least one, if not two, spin-off TV shows to consider, but I'll decide how much I want to commit to those when I get there. And of course, there's plenty of things that I can do with the live-action Disney films too, like there have been several remakes of things like The Parent Trap or The Absent-Minded Professor, but in some cases there are a weirdly high number of titles in the franchise, like Freaky Friday has 4 different versions, including a musical, The Shaggy Dog has 3 different versions, but the original version had 2 sequels, and one of those was a short-lived TV series. And actually, the most recent Shaggy Dog film is almost more of a remake of one of the sequels to the original film rather than the main film itself. It's kind of convoluted, but I'm planning to cover all of that eventually. Again, all this is in my future plans. For now, you have plenty to listen to on the new podcast, new episodes and old. We're currently finishing up the Golden Age of Disney and we'll be moving on to the War era soon, but we've also got a bunch of random brand new episodes sprinkled throughout the lineup that you're not going to want to miss. If you're a fan of animation, film history, and of course Disney, then this will be the podcast for you. Make sure to go and subscribe on your preferred podcast platform or to the brand new Disney Movie Marathon YouTube channel. And stay tuned here for some brand new episodes. Like I said, the most recent 2 episodes will be coming here for Halloween, a little treat to whet your appetite for what's to come. But after that, make sure you head on over and subscribe to the Disney Movie Marathon.